Ladies and gentlemen, I have a jam packed rant planned for you all tonight. All right, I took last night off. I'm sure a lot of you can understand. It was only a nomination episode, coach. But now, by Saturday afternoon ish, borderline evening ish, I can confirm we have more than enough new information to go ahead and pontificate on. We have the stand culture out of control once again. I already put them in their place, but I'm going to have to do that one more time here to set a real tone here. Also, we have Xavier. We knew he was HOH coming out of the last rant, but now we know he has won the veto as well, ladies and gentlemen, and he plans to not change the nominees. With that being said, that puts an awful lot of pressure on Big D here, who's wanted the keys to the car for a while to prove he has the merit and or the will and skill to be able to deal with that type of blood. Well, we'll see if wounds heal after he cuts either his crush in Kylan or Azza, his Joker partner from the start. And if that wasn't enough of a storyline, we of course have the other storyline of clearly Xavier betraying Kylan here after Kylan just used Veto on him during the double to keep him safe, to keep this hope alive that all three black men could make the end. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, even though there's only 4 people left, we have a lot more storylines than the people left in the game, and that's because this season has just been that amazing. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed, the Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored Hall of Fame. Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. I'm, of course, your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, Smith Dog Trio, The Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the Pro Black Prodigy, the Shadow Realm Shaman, the Pronoun Punisher, the No Sleep Assassin, here to bring balance back to Big Brother US, Season 23, all of the above on that ISAT test and ACT. You know what it is. Oh, man, and if y'all don't leave wifey Azza alone, I'm going to have to unleash all these Infinity Stones, because I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest tonight. All right? Listen, it was bad enough that we had these stands out here, these toxic stands, out here trying to dig up Kylan's tweets. People tried to justify that when it happened, remember? I was the one saying, that's unacceptable. What did that lead to? A gateway drug of then people going and doing what? Harassing Xavier's family because they're mad at him for playing a great game. What does that lead to, ladies and gentlemen? That leads to Xavier's family taking down his entire Twitter account, huh? I saw some people say, oh, y'all did this too soon. We should have all ambushed him as soon as he came out the house. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought we were happy the 6 made history. I thought we were happy that we had something we could claim. Before this season, weren't we all happy about the inclusion of all these players? We sat through 20 years of a lot of things we are ashamed to say we sat through to get to this moment. Just to be so ungrateful that we would then take our anger on characters in a game. We would take our anger out on their family members, the people that they are playing this game to improve the lives of, that have nothing to do with the actual games these players are playing within the house, technically, because they're not the ones influencing them week to week. It's not fair to go off on these family members. You don't think they have their own feelings here? And see, this brings me to the most recent offense, ladies and gentlemen. We have Tiff and Hannah stands going in and throwing death threats towards Azza Awusam's family. Now her tweets are protected, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to have a Black Big Brother community after this season. And you know who this really pleases? The people who never wanted this alliance to be here in the first place. So imagine being a fan of 2 out of the 6 members and willing to throw everything in the fire. You don't even care anymore. You're willing to burn down this strong black community that's been building throughout the last 90 days of this game. We've been on code with each other. Yeah, we've had some differences just like the Cookout Alliance did. But we got back on code because we knew the six making the six is what really mattered. Just because your fave got sent to the Shadow Realm first or second, once they reach final six, does not give you the authority to then be judge, jury, and executioner and go out here and send death threats to family members who honestly might not even be big fans of the game. They just might be people who are handling this account until they return. They might not even be watching it that seriously. But the way y'all flying off on the handle, and I know it's not the RBR community, so please do not take this as me talking down to y'all. I feel like me being the main black creator in this community, it's my responsibility to try to get people to police themselves here. I saw people say it was all about black women sticking together and feminism. I get it. Y'all mad at Azza because in y'all mind, she didn't stick together with Hannah and Tiffany. But doesn't this contradict your whole argument and the whole soapbox you're standing on? If you gonna go out of your way to trash a black woman to defend two others? We gotta watch the message and we gotta watch the messaging and the example we are setting for these young babies out here. This is unacceptable. Hannah and Tiffany left this game with class and dignity. Why can't they fans do the same? I saw people say Thursday night was their last, it was the season finale. Once Tiffany's gone, I'm done watching. Well, then why after Friday night's episode is Azza being attacked? Y'all clearly didn't stop watching. And here's the thing. Azza came into this house wanting to work with Tiffany. It was Tiffany who pushed her away. How is it Azza's fault for being disregarded and dismissed and remembering the memory? How is it her fault for not forgetting how that felt? How's that her fault? We really have to have more empathy. It's funny, I'm the logic guy, but it seems like I'm the only one with emotional logic. Like, come on. We cannot become everything we hate. And we do not need the six to come out of this house and be embarrassed. Listen, this six-person alliance disregarded their dream of winning this game for something bigger. Do you know how much of it is a spit in their faces to then make it your personal agenda, to then tell yourself and tell everyone around yourself that your feelings and your fave and how you feel about that fave is more important and should usurp the mission itself? Because that's what y'all are telling us. By y'all attacking Azza's family, digging up Kylan's tweets, attacking Xavier's family, y'all are showing us it's more about one or two people than it's ever been about the movement itself. And this is what I've been conveying to y'all this entire time. And once again, they have fallen into my trap. But I'm not even happy about this trap they fell in because this is embarrassing for me as a black person within the community. You don't think non-black people are laughing at us? And see, here's the thing. I'm not falling for the okie doke either. People are expecting me to be mad at black women off this exclusively. I'm not. I told patrons this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a bait and switch, and they're expecting us to be reactionary and emotional, so we consistently stay at odds with each other, so after this season, we never have nothing positive. I'm smart enough to see beyond the veil here. I'm wise enough to know that it isn't just the black women amongst the Tiffany and Hannah stands doing this. I'm wise enough to know it's not enough black fans in general to mobilize this fast to do these type of things, to cause this type of pain and trauma towards family members of players. I'm smart enough to know this is DX and Claire stands in disguise, marauded as Tiff and Hannah stands, trying to frame black women and trying to make black men hate black women from this point further based off this. Sisters, black men, the smart ones, we not falling for it. We know all y'all ain't in on this. And you see, that's why I haven't addressed black women yet. Because I know y'all are being framed for this. I know all of y'all ain't doing this. And I know the ones that are watching this, y'all ain't involved in it either. Because you ain't hiding. The ones that's hiding was involved in it. And I'm smart enough to know those are the ones hiding behind alt accounts and fake black avatars, acting like they black when a lot of these new accounts, have you noticed a lot of these accounts have 10, 15 followers, just started in May or June, but all of a sudden they post one tweet that's anti-blackmail or anti-Aza and it gets 1,000 likes? Bro, they are botting some of this propaganda. And see, I'm talking about something that's deeper than some of y'all can grasp right now. That's fine. I'm used to being ahead of the story. But understand, sisters, I'm not falling for the bait and switch. I'm not blaming all of y'all for this. I know all y'all ain't doing this, but I do know there are some sisters allowing and enabling this too. Y'all gotta police those people y'all think are allies, because they going crazy out here. They are pontificating on Aza's upbringing and the polygamous father she had, and they're trying to use that to somehow chime in on the African diaspora. Man, get the hell out of here with that. There are some things you don't even have the right to speak on. And this is Big Brother. I don't know how gameplay reflects on the diaspora at all. But once again, these are non-black people talking about the diaspora now because they feel gassed because they've seen Tiff stands in the past act emotional. So now they're kind of blending in with y'all. Remember the protest the past year? There would be some agitators among the ranks that ain't even one of them, just so everyone would get blamed for what that one agitator did. It's the same philosophy here. I'm putting y'all on game, and I'm making sure we don't lose sight of what really matters here, because I really care about y'all. Unlike these other people, I really do. And I hope my message here, opening up this rant, I hope y'all get that. Because this could have easily been misconstrued. But that's why this rant is called Put Up or Shut Up. This is the 38th rant of Big Brother 23. And the reason why it's called that, because it's put up or shut up time as a community. We've been asking for this opportunity this entire time. We get it, and now we want to infight? Nah. That's not what we need to be doing. When the six come out of this house, when that finale airs, we need to be all on code, celebrating them all together. The problem is, I'm worried enough damage has already been done. Understand, Derek and Cody, shout outs to them. Shout outs to the winner circle. You know, one half of this duo is the duo that people tried to say was racist just because he stated a fact about Davon not being good at the game. But we're gonna put that to the side. Them two were misunderstood. And yes, I may have had a back and forth with Derek earlier in the season, but at the end of the day, I was professional with how I responded. I wasn't emotional. I was setting an example then for us. So understand, I've always understood my platform, and that's why I'm not reckless with it. So understand here, Derek and Cody were going to have family members of the cookout on their show to speak on their experience and how this show has changed their perception on the game. They were going to give a unique perspective we've never seen anyone give before. Now they're not even going to do that anymore because of the type of stress and trauma they've been put under. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't care what walk of life you from. This is insane. And you don't think production's looking around at this? I mean, I was just watching feeds. Aza brought up how she can't wait to see her family. Xavier said, yeah, me too, feeds cut. It's got to that point, if they even bring up their family feeds cut now, because now production is aware of how toxic the community has become. No lies have been told yet. Now, I would like to get into the strategy now, but I wanted to give y'all a cold opening from the heart because that's really how I feel. We got to do better as a community, man. We got to do better. And see, let's say in an alternate timeline, let's say Tiffany wins this game. Let's say Xavier go out final six. X fans do not threaten no family of Tiffany's, no family of Hannah's. Let's say Kylan go out fifth. His family, his fans do not threaten nobody. At the end of the day, coach, it shouldn't even got this far, y'all. That's my point. All right. So yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna break down part of Friday. Well, I'm gonna break down Friday's episode now. I did watch it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all can appreciate that cold opening, but I had to get that off my chest. And quite frankly, I didn't even want to get into the strategy first because it was on my mind. It was weighing heavily on me. I took last night off. You know, I'm enjoying myself. I wake up. somewhere late at night in the morning area, and then all of a sudden I see all of this. Like, I feel like Childish Gambino, Parks and Recreation, and I just walk into a flaming building. I'm like, what is going on here? You know? And see, the Ozza fans, I feel bad for them because they're fighting a battle versus their own in their minds. But a lot of this is the enemy you think you fighting ain't you. And that's the thing. When you're highly emotional, you can be manipulated. And this is what I've always said about the gameplay and outside the house. You know, we have to stay logical minds. That way we do not allow all these saboteurs to come within our ranks and throw stones, and then we think our brother and sister threw a stone at us, when in reality they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not going to make this more divisive than I could have made it. All right? Now, Ozza admitted she lied to Hannah's face during the double eviction because she always was loyal to Xavier and Big D over Hannah and Kylan. She also spoke about feeling played by the men when Kylan used Veto on X. So, at the end of the day, Ozza got played as much as she played Hannah. So Ozza is still a victim heading into Final Four, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I believe she should have more sympathy put on her name than to have people attacking her. Hannah told Big D that Kylan and X have a Final Two deal. I thought that was interesting last night. Kylan told Hannah he had to talk to X before voting to keep her. Xavier is looking like Thanos in this edit. This definitely lost Kylan Hannah's vote, in my opinion. Both Kylan and Xavier lied to Hannah. X said he would keep her, and Kylan said he cared about competitors. Xavier admits he is most loyal to Big D. He said that through confessional, so we can confirm this as the truth. He also said he is willing to do whatever it takes to make Final Two, but he prefers Big D over Kylan. So this is why this week is going the way it's going. And we'll get into the HOH competition, which I thought was very reminiscent of BB Can 9's Final Four Veto competition, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one Kiefer competed in, where it was kind of like some LA noir detective type stuff. I really do like these type of comps. Big D ironically doesn't blame X the most here, which helps X keep Big D's loyalty the most between him and Kylan. Xavier, understanding why this makes Big D upset, wisely lets Big D vent to him to trust him over Kylan. The HOH comp is the investigation comp from BB Can 9, essentially. It's called BB Crime Lab. I thought this was a super dope comp. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, there were 5 different things you had to collect. You know what? I probably have the photos. I probably do have the photos still to give people a visual real quick, just so I can talk that hot stuff. But I really like this competition, ladies and gentlemen, because you had all of the photo. Matter of fact, I may have would have deleted it. No, I don't think I deleted it. Okay, so you had to get 5 different types of DNA, as you all will see here. Hold up. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah, we moving this quick around. So, okay, so you had these 5 type of DNAs you had to find, right? But you had to be dang near OCD to be able to know the pattern of each of these. So while you could argue this was a mental and a puzzle comp, it was somewhat physical as well, because you had to beat people's time and run back and forth and stuff like that as well. I thought it was a well-rounded comp. I didn't think anything was foolish about this comp. I didn't think anything was tomfoolery with this comp, like the double with the round 1 and round 2, how they changed the rules or anything. But I thought the comp initially was really good, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was pretty dope. Xavier, of course, wins the comp. He pretty much washes Big D and Kylan by at least 3 minutes in this competition. He did very well. Kylan, he stumbled. Big D's been doing pretty good at these comps. Now that we've dwindled in the numbers, Big D's been finishing second a lot lately. Even in the veto competition this week, ladies and gentlemen, that Xavier won, Kylan finished last. Big D and Ozza did better than him. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, that's just an interesting tidbit to add to that as well. So, yeah, so Xavier becomes the new HOH, and he wisely floats the idea of cutting Kylan next to Ozza. That way both of them are more mad at Big D than X if noms stay the same. So we're getting to the point we are at in the present day now. So basically, the connection is tweaking out, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. I hope it gets back to where it needs to be. I think I spit too much real stuff into the atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen. I think I was too pro-black for the algorithm. Huh? Hold on. I don't even want to go too crazy into this connect. Okay, yeah, the connection coming back now. Oh, it's dropping again. All right, I'm just gonna keep going, and I hope it works. But this brings me to the current day because now that Xavier has one veto, the noms will stay the same in all likelihood. Now, Big D has told Kylan that Xavier will use the veto. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we should be good now. I think we super pumped now. I got to restart it and everything like that. So as we were saying, Xavier's in a situation now by sweeping the week with both HOH and Veto. He's in a unique position here, ladies and gentlemen, where he can keep noms the same. That way, the blood of evicting or voting to evict someone falls on Big D, allowing X to be free of the blood, but also have the credit for winning both comps simultaneously. Or this is another route X can go because, in my opinion, Big D has no incentive to keep Ozza over Kylan. Why? Big D has more of a chance of beating Kylan due to bitter jury than he has of ever beating Ozza due to bitter jury. With that said, I think Xavier has to know if he leaves Lams the same, Big D takes out Ozza every time, keeps Kylan, and then maybe in Xavier's mind it's harder to win the final HOH. Now, me being a true Ozza fan, I believe she can yoke him in that final HOH if he isn't careful. Other Ozza fans agree with me here, and this is why I told Ozza fans this was the route she needed to go down to possibly win this game. I have never led you all astray because I've truly cared for Ozza as a player and as a human being. So this once again shows that I've been right all along. But that aside, let's stay humble tonight because we had a great message tonight. And I want to drive that point home here. Humble in victory, humble in defeat at all times, right? So the question is, does someone like Xavier, does he prioritize taking Ozza off the block? That way he grants her the choice to take Kylan out herself. Now, the reason why this is scary is because if you take Ozza off and she takes out Kylan, now you've allowed Ozza to win an HOH and you've allowed her to get the love of all the jury members by taking out Kylan herself. And I expect a lot of stands that were very mean towards Ozza's family to then start acting like she's the baddest chick on earth the minute she takes out Kylan, if that were to be the timeline. That's just how emotional and reactionary some people happen to be. But with that said, there's a lot of pivoting prowess here. So sometimes by sweeping the week can be more interesting because we don't know what direction Xavier is going to play this down. We know he can play it the safe route and let Big D get the blood. We also know he could play it the other route, choose Ozza over them all, possibly start a final two deal with her in exchange for taking her off, and to give her the Infinity Stone of sending Kylan home herself. I mean, at the end of the day, if Xavier were to win Final HOH and cut Ozza after giving her that chance and that moment to send Kai home, who basically sent home Hannah and Tiffany, I don't think Ozza could be mad at X if he were to cut her in Final 3. I think this move is some hot sauce on the chicken that could just ensure X is thought of as one of the greats. I'm just being honest here. Now, but with that said, I was someone who was a huge fan of Kylan's strategy implementation, of wanting to go to Final 2 with Xavier. I'd be a complete hypocrite if all of a sudden I just supported X doing all this just because he decided so. I still prefer X going to Final 3 with Kylan and Big D. Not because I dislike Ozza. No, well, it's not even necessarily I want Big D in Final 3. I just want Kylan and Xavier in the Final 3. Like, if Ozza happened to be in there with them, great. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. But I just know the odds of Big D evicting Ozza before Kylan are slim to none. He has a crush on Kylan. He actually believes he can beat Kylan. I'm not sure if he believes he can beat Xavier. You know? Even though his alliance with Xavier lasts longer than his alliance with Kylan, I still feel like Kylan and Big D are a little closer. They have kissed, for example. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, coach, if you leave it in Big D's hands, who's already telling Kylan you're going to use the veto on Kylan this week, odds are Big D is keeping Kylan to make you look bad so Kylan takes him to Final 2 over you. If you're Xavier, the optimal move every time is to take that choice out of Big D's hands, knowing Ozza always keeps Big D because that's the one person she believes she probably beats. So in that case, you just reverse the cycle of fortune. And you just make sure your week goes the way you plan for it to be. Because as Xavier said on Friday night, this is truly put up or shut up time. And I know a lot of people are like, damn, X, why you going to turn on Kai now? Man, in his mind, it's winning time, man. Scared money don't make none. I mean, I have to respect the move. That doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it because of all the things Kai did for this man. I feel like the least you could do is go to final two with him at this point. I think you wash him now. You didn't want every comp this week. What can Kai say now? The only way he make final three is if you allow it, basically. Because based off what you do with the veto is you allowing him to make it. So he can't beat you now. So he saved you during the double. Now, technically, this week, you have the power to save him. I think it's dilly-dally, shilly-shally, but I get it. In Xavier's mind, he believes he can have an easier time of ensuring he reaches final two with Big D if Oz is the third competitor in final three. I can't say I disagree with the math there. But with that said, Kylan has earned that spot. And I know this isn't a deserved game. Because if it was all about who deserved everything, we could have an entirely different cast. We could have an entirely different final six. We could have an entirely different jury, right? I'm aware of that. But I'm just here to throw out all the options. And because there's only 4 people left, ladies and gentlemen, it's not many other options this week other than that. So now I would like to answer y'all questions. Because at the end of the day, anything else I say is going to kind of be repetitive, right? So now I would like to hear y'all thoughts. Let me know what y'all think on this game. And because Ozza still has a legit chance to win this game, I don't know why people are so mad at her, by the way. They said she was such a bad player for yesterday and the day before. But there's a chance here that Kai goes Final 4, Ozza makes Final 3, and then she's literally 2 comp wins away from winning this entire game. And pulling off one of the most improbable wins in Big Brother history. So at the end of the day, sisters, the ones who may not like Oz's decision making, if she were to still end up winning this game, that's still a W for black women, right? So hey, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. And please, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button for me. I feel like that's way too low for the rant I gave y'all tonight. That let me know a lot of toxic stands be watching, boy. They be showing up live, boy. Please prove that you aren't a toxic stan by smashing like. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm good now, Ghost. I'm good now. I had to just restart it. You know what I'm saying? My router was tripping. It was tripping. Rod says, I don't believe Frazier will vote Kai out. He gets taken regardless if Ozza's out the game. Exactly. So it doesn't behoove him whatsoever to keep Ozza. And this is why, Ozza, you got to work your charm, girl. You got to prove your flirt game is better than Tiff's was with Kylan here. I mean, let's keep it a beam. Now, to be fair, y'all both want the same thing. So you ain't got that much hard work in front of you. You just got to convince Xavier to use the veto on you. If you can convince him using it on you is just the best move, then make that move. Now, the question is, will Xavier want to do all of that? I think Xavier loves the idea behind letting Nam stay where they are and let things fall where they may. But letting them fall where they may could lose him the game to Kylan in Final 2. In a way, it could happen. But I think Kylan takes Big D to Final 2 if X doesn't use veto on him this week. I think Kylan says, all right, I get it now. You wanted me to go. So it's like, hey, man, scared money don't make none. Both ways. If you already put the ball in motion to do this much, you might as well go ahead and take Ozza off now. So that's where the game is getting very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting very interesting. Because in theory, the game-winning move is the checkmate move, which would be taking Ozza off. This would ensure a black woman makes Final 3, which would be great to see. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a Ozza in X Final 2, because I think that would be interesting as well. Now, of course, I just think the likelihood of that is slim to none, because neither take each other over Big D. But that is what it is. But see, Ozza is someone who doesn't lie. Would she lie like that to win the game? I think she would. I mean, she just lied to Hannah. Shit, I don't know. But yeah. So at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this rant, ladies and gentlemen, even though it's not going to be the longest rant in civilization or history, is to let you all know that a lot can happen before now and Wednesday night's veto episode. Now, of course, I don't know if the veto episode is going to be a live veto ceremony. Can someone correct me on that in the chat? Is that going to be a live veto ceremony where we have a live eviction right after it? Because in most cases, it should be reserved for that. So would that be a scenario where X has to wait with this veto for 4 days without making a decision with it? Or do they make a decision with this veto on Monday, like normal ceremonies would normally air, and they just cut off feeds for 2 days before Wednesday's veto episode? That feels like it would be dumb, but I don't know, right? So it's a lot of different questions I have, ladies and gentlemen. I hope people can correct me on this underneath. If Ozzy goes to Final Three and she wins that last HOH, talk about a game changer. Exactly, Ghost. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And honestly, listen, people think I'm just this Xavier must win by any means necessary guy. If Ozzy were to win, that's a W, coach. That's a W. All right? Not because it's Ozzy, but because it's Ozzy. The Mazza. And it would mean the Mazda showed up. And at the end of the day, that HOH win during that double, let's keep it a bean, that made it a little easier for the men to get Hannah out. Because if one of the men would have won HOH, I'd argue it could have gotten a little tougher. Because Ozzy would have been a vote possibly to keep Hannah in that scenario. Now, I don't think Ozzy keeps Hannah anyway, because I personally do believe she was closer to Big D and Xavier, which is what led to fans being mad at Ozzy in the first place. But with that said, this all goes back to the people who were loyal to you in your lowest moment. So when they reach their lowest moment, you got to have their back. And this is why I had hoped X would have Kai's back this week just the same. Hopefully, by X keeping Noms the same and just letting Big D decide, well, nah, man. I don't know. Can X afford? Would that be a choke? Letting Big D decide when you already know what Big D is probably going to do. I don't know. But Big D cutting Ozzy, that would lose him the game. I think Kylan washes Big D if Big D cuts Ozzy before Kylan, because the entire jury hates Kylan's guts. Honestly, Big D would have a better chance of beating Ozzy if he cut Kylan, kept Ozzy. Ozzy won final HOH, took out Xavier. No, then Ozzy wins. Either way, Ozzy would win, because technically that would be her having 2 HOHs. Damn. Yeah, there's no way Big D can beat Ozzy. That's why he would cut her, right? There's no way. His game, she has the one game where she can argue she was next to him at every step, besides maybe the things he did with the men. So it's kind of hard for Big D to kind of finesse in his speech and act like he's doing all this extra stuff Ozzy ain't privy to. Now, if he was in Final 2 with Kylan, I think he could let that shake. He could kind of placate and pander to Brittany a bit to try to alter how DX views his game entirely. And maybe he'd have a shot, and I think that's going to play a role in why he keeps Kai over Ozzy. So, yes, man, it's going to be very interesting what Xavier does with this veto. I'm very interested. I'm very interested. Whitney says, I understand why X is concerned sitting next to Kai in the final 2. Remember, he's not aware how the jury is glowing over him in jury right now. X beats Kai easily, but X can't see it. And that's another side of this, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in X's position and this guy just used veto to take you off during a double, and you know the jury gonna watch that tape, you kind of want to show them some other tape. Yeah. hey, listen. If any of y'all played sports before, your family ever recorded y'all games and you watch your tape, hey, that bad tape, listen, that'd be the one that your family always wants you to watch more of, because that was your lowlights. That's when you did bad. You can learn more lessons from your mistakes than the stuff you did right? But let's keep it a bean. No one likes watching their mistakes, man. The best way to forget about a mistake is to do what? Complete a positive play the next time you're on the field, right? I think this is Xavier thinking from an athletic perspective, like, hey, I got to get that one back. And he got it back by winning 2 back-to-back comps. I mean, listen, this guy, he ain't playing games in these streets. He ain't playing games in these streets. So it's going to be interesting, Coach. And I agree, Chuck. I don't really like the move either by X, honestly. But see, that's why Kai could still inadvertently make Final 3 anyway, right? So it's one of them things where I don't want to be too heavy-handed yet, because the veto still has to be used or not used. But with that said, X even saying it out loud, that's tough to swallow, knowing how down Killmonger has been for the set. I got to keep it a bean. I know that Kai said that he wanted to go to the end with the strongest player, but I was wondering if X ever. No, X never said that as well, Paige. He just allowed Kai to say it, and he kind of just like agreed with it. Chuck says X has the final two of both guides. He needs to get Ozza out. Well, see, that's the thing. I think in X's mind, he wants Ozza to outlast Kai because he thinks Kai could cut him and take Big D and win the game. In his mind, Ozza is less dangerous. But I think Ozza could end up being just as dangerous based off how Kylan is starting to kind of frazzle a bit based off his Veto performance. I mean, a lot of pressure was on Kylan there. I was one of the main fans who expected him to win that comp. I was rooting for Kylan to win that comp. Um, it's sad to see him in the state he's in currently. He's in the have-not room where he was when Feeds returned. He was visibly upset. He was fighting back some tears. And he even said to Xavier, like, yo, you're not really giving me the reassurance that you'll use Veto on me, and I would like that reassurance. And Xavier just kept saying, bro, you'll be fine. Like, X was kind of cold towards him. Like, and that's tough right there, man. I don't like to see anyone. And then you even heard it in Kylan's voice. He was like, people told me I shouldn't do this. I'd be in this position. I would regret not sticking with Tiffany and Hannah, blah, 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 blah. But I trusted in this, and you kind of got Xavier just there like, hey, man, it's going to be all right, bro. It's going to be all right, bro. Trust me, man. Now I'm going to say the same. Big D going to keep you, man. The boys, we going to make the 3. You'll be fine. Woo, woo. So it's one of them things where, man, you right. He is putting a lot of pressure on himself to win that final HOH, Xavier, Amber says, I feel horrible for Ozza. I feel horrible for her as well, Coach. I really do. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make Final 3. Like, honestly, if it was up to me, Coach, if I'm really keeping it a bean, it'd be Ozza, it'd be Kylan, and it'd be Xavier in Final 3 right now. That's how I'd play it. I just know Xavier is never going to put Big D in that position where someone off the block would send Big D home over whoever else is next to him. Because Ozza always sends Kai home, and Big D sends Ozza home, right? So, damn, this is tough. Oh, yeah, Ubong, you're right about that. They're also calling Ozza's game Nicole Franzel. They just got done calling SB's game Nicole Franzel. Now, all of a sudden, y'all using... Remember at the time, I said this was like a racial slur, the way they just throw it out there about white women. So now you're going to call a black woman a Nicole Franzel. Now, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I ain't trying to be divisive, but Ozza fans even brought this up. Why are Hannah stands bringing up how black somebody is when Hannah hang around a lot of non-black folks and Ozza's best friends are all black women? It made me think like, yo, why is so much projection happening? And that's when I realized this ain't all black women doing this. This ain't. This a whole bunch of Karens in disguise as black women trying to cause a civil war in our ranks. And that's why early in the rant I told you I wasn't falling for the okie doke. And I still ain't falling for it. So please believe that Nicole Franzel line, that's used to make people believe these are black Tiffany stands, because that was something Tiffany told DX to say in his speech towards SB, if you remember. So at the end of the day, Coach, this is all meant to make us believe these are black women that follow behind Tiffany who are continuing this storyline now trying to bash Ozza, when we all know that's not what it is. Or all of them ain't what it is. But they want us to believe it's all of them. Temp has asked a question, do you think Frenchie has the best opening storyline of Big Brother history, especially since his fumbles led to this? I mean, let's keep it real, bro. Anybody that was part of this season is part of history, okay? The only thing that the casual audience that didn't get to experience any of this live won't understand is just how crazy Frenchie's Funhouse was. You feel it, dig me? It was crazy, And it was so nuts that I was up all night and became the no-sleep assassin in my intro off that. So let's keep it real. If Frenchie isn't on this season, y'all don't get an extra nickname in the intro. I mean, he already played a huge role in history right then and there. You feel it, dig me? Tay asks question, do you think Kylan will still be loyal to X if Kylan stays this week? I truly believe so, because I see him whispering to himself arguments for why he did certain things that X may also have. Like, he's constantly thinking of how he's going to craft his speech versus Xavier, because he knows Xavier is too cool he can never outcool Xavier. That's actually come out of his mouth on feeds. So he's still focused on going to the end with X. That's why it hurts me so much. I honestly just want to see them sit at the end together, man. Like, bro, like X, man, trust your game, bro. You're right. Only reason Ozza has a chance is if X turns on Kai, and that wasn't supposed to happen. But then again, X never said this wasn't supposed to happen, right? Like, X has always thought for himself in this game, and he's always been a leader, not a follower. And at the end of the day, X was always going to decide whether he was going to go with Kai or not. He wasn't ever just going to just go with Kai if Kai decided. So even though this is a tough pill to swallow, Noms can end up staying the same. Kai makes final three, and then we all can go, whew. But with that said, it's really tough that Kai or Ozza are guaranteed to leave regardless. Big D has no chance of leaving this week. And I think that's something worth being more sad about than everything besides the death threats and the harassment. But that's neither here nor there. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to hit that like button for me. Persephone says, I agree, this is Oz's best route to the W, but accidentally. Well, I mean, hey, listen. I mean, there's a lot of winners who have accidentally gone the right route. You know what I'm saying? I'd argue Andy acts like he had it all figured out, but he stumbled into winning that game that season himself. He stumbled and I won. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, this happens sometimes. I'd argue Nicole F. Well, during the season, she won. I'd argue she stumbled into a win. You see what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to compare Ozzy to Nicole F. by saying because they both stumbled. I'm just saying DX had moments this season where he stumbled into good moves. Frenchie had tons of moments where he stumbled into a good move, into a bad move. Tiffany had moments where she stumbled out of a good move into a bad move. This happens, all right? What I'm basically saying is these people are human. And once again, we should not have higher expectations of Ozzy if we're not even her biggest fan. What I don't appreciate is people go in on her as if they didn't already expect her to be the worst player left. Then they go in on her and act like, oh, she's so bad. But you've already said this, right? It's redundant. And at that point, it becomes bullying. And then at that point, there's no positivity that you're even putting into the atmosphere. You're just being an asshole. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, you got to get G-checked. Because obviously enough people ain't slap you around for talking crazy as a kid. Because some of this behavior out here, it's like people ain't got parents or something. You know what I'm saying? Some of this is just, listen, poor discipline, you know? Dealing with the Dunn says, I feel like this. I don't care if it's a black man or black woman who wins this year. I care that it's someone black. Thank you. That's how I feel. And that's why y'all have never seen me go out of my way to attack a whole bunch of people or go on Twitter and just go down the timeline, look for everybody talking crazy on X and just signify. Like, it ain't about none of that, man. Like, I had hoped everyone would be happy once we reached this part of the game. But earlier in the season, I started to see there's no way everyone's going to be happy because everyone can't win the most prize money ever. It's going to create this crab in a barrel, drag this person back down to the gutter with me mentality, and that's what we've seen a lot in this community, unfortunately, over the past 80 days or so. I agree, Rod. Ozzy does need to get in X's ear, coach. He need to be on the Lance Stevenson side of the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Veto is usually live in front of him. Okay, good. So that means X will have 4 days to think on a decision? Wow. This is going to be tough, man. I expect him to waffle on this decision a lot. If I'm Ozzy, coach, listen, hey, I go on some dates. You feel it, dig me? I start strawberry shortcaking it. You know what I'm saying? Don't do nothing crazy, all right? Don't do nothing crazy. Have self-respect as well. But, hey, what X wants is what you want. So y'all both might as well work towards that goal, coach. Get down with each other's demonstration. But with that said, this is tough, man. Super tough. Time for X to get lethal. He has to take Ozzy off. Yes, Persephone. That seems to be his move. Vonnie says, I think it's live because it airs at 10. Thank you so much, Vonnie. I appreciate that. Whitney says X made a mistake vocalizing to Big D before Veto was played that he wanted to cut Kai. He should have held his card close to his chest. You're right about that, because now he's put himself in a position where if he doesn't use Veto on Ozza, now Big D can just go to Kylan, and now it's X versus the world. And Big D will want Kylan to beat out X too, because he knows he has a better chance of beating Kai over X. So, but I just think if Big D cuts Ozza to keep Kai, Big D, the one vote, the 2 votes you thought you had locked in, you'll probably lose. Well, no, Brittany still doesn't vote for Kylan over you, but Ozza might just vote for Kylan over you, thinking you ain't here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying what it is, man. I agree, Rod. Nobody believes Derek F did anything to really win the game. I agree with that. X is stone cold. I give him that. Yeah, down. This is why I don't have Twitter, coach. Honestly, stuff like this is making me wonder, why do I have one? Honestly, y'all, I have a Twitter just to throw my dang link out on my rant so people can get it. That way, maybe I make a new subscriber out of a stranger. Outside of that, y'all see, I don't even post on IG no more. There's a lot of just toxic apps now, man. I don't even want to waste my time with that. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to make this rant too long. I do see one more question. Doesn't X owe Ozza a date still from that dating game? I think he may. And if they got 4 more days or 5 more days, well, yeah, 1, 2. If they got 4 more days, well, it's really 3 more days before this live episode, we're assuming. So if they got 3 more days of just downtime, why not? You know what I'm saying? Do your thug thizzle. Get it interesting. Everyone says X has been making feeds interesting, but I think that's just people hoping a black man targets a black man. So, y'all know what that is. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed this live feeds update. This was never meant to be too long, but we had some technical difficulties and we had to get it right. So if you could, please do not forget to hit that like button, comment underneath this video, and share the link with all the fans of Big Brother 23 that you rock with. I'm Dave Smith with Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. Until next time. And as a black Big Brother community, we got to do better. We got kids looking up to us out here. And we have people that we might not even be aware of that might view us as role models. So next time in the future, don't click that send tweet button. Put that thing in your drafts and delete it. Discard the thing. Huh? And if you wouldn't say it to someone's face, don't say it at all. All right? We learned that since preschool. And I'm going to leave y'all with that. So I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Y'all stay safe out here in these streets. And I'll see you on the flip side.